Tonight, you're not in your bedroom. You're standing at the foot of an old wooden cross, where the wind whispers secrets through olive branches, and the earth holds its breath beneath a darkened sky. You feel the rough wood, splinters pressing against your fingertips, and you sense a story waiting, a story of sacrifice, of silence, and of a stone rolled away at dawn. Tonight, I will guide you through the shadows of Golgotha, past the tomb carved in stone, into the garden where hope blooms again. We will listen for the heartbeat of resurrection, soft, steady, eternal. Where are you listening from tonight? I read every comment, and if this kind of storytelling speaks to your heart, you're welcome to join us. Just tap subscribe before you drift off. You stand beneath a sky that has forgotten how to breathe. The air is thick, heavy with whispers of sorrow and the distant rustle of olive trees swaying in the night. You close your eyes and listen, truly listen, to the silence that lives. Between the cries, you walk slowly along a dusty path, stones pressing into the soles of your feet. Your sandals leave soft prints in the earth, footprints that will be washed away by the coming storm. You carry no burden on your back, yet you feel the weight of a wooden beam pressing across your shoulders, as if your spirit wants to share in this agony, to understand what it means to be given fully. For love. Far ahead, the shape of a hill rises, Golgotha, the place of the skull. It waits for you in the darkness, a crown of thorns against the horizon. You see torches flicker like restless spirits, their flames dancing in the wind that carries the scent of sweat, blood, and damp earth. You pause beside a tree, its bark rough against your palm. You press your forehead to the trunk, and you breathe. You breathe with him in this place where every breath is a prayer, and every heartbeat is a promise not yet broken. You hear the distant sound of hammer striking nail, a single echo, then another. The metal sings its cruel song through the night, and your chest tightens. The world holds its breath with you, as if afraid that one exhale might shatter the fragile hope still left unspoken. You open your eyes to see the people gathered at the foot of the cross, figures draped in cloaks, eyes hidden beneath hoods, faces half lit by torchlight and half lost in shadow. Some whisper, some weep, some stare in silence, arms crossed as if to shield their hearts from what they know they've done. A mother stands there, her veil damp with tears. She lifts her eyes, red-rimmed but unbroken. She knows, she always knew. Yet even she, in her boundless faith, feels the dagger turn in her soul tonight. You kneel in the dust beside her, your knees pressing into the earth. You feel each grain of sand, each pebble, each drop of sorrow the ground drinks in above you. The silhouette of the cross looms, the battered body surrendered to the nails and the wood, the crown of thorns digging deep into sacred flesh. You listen for his voice, the voice that spoke stars into being, that calmed storms with a whisper, that raised the dead with a name. But tonight it is a broken whisper. Father, forgive. Them, the words hang in the night like fragile lanterns, flickering yet refusing to go out. They drift down into you, planting seeds of grace that will bloom long after this hill is silent again. A sudden gust of wind sweeps across the hill. It wraps around you like a morning cloak, rustling the fabric at your shoulders, tugging at your hair. You breathe it in, the dust, the sweat, the prayers of a world that doesn't yet know it is being saved. And as you sit there, the darkness deepens, but in your heart a single ember glows, waiting for the stone to be rolled away. You feel the earth trembling beneath your feet, a shiver running through stones that have stood for centuries. It begins as a quiet murmur, like a sigh whispered through the soil, and then grows a low, rolling groan that makes the olive branches shudder above you. You look up. The cross stands tall against a sky cracked with thunder, its shadow stretching long and broken over the gathering crowd. A sudden flash of lightning splits the darkness, briefly illuminating the faces around you. Fear, disbelief, wonder. No one speaks. There is nothing left to say. Somewhere beyond this hill, in the heart of the temple, a veil hangs thick, heavy, woven with the prayers of generations. It is said to guard the Holy of Holies, the place where only one may enter once each year, to stand in the presence of the Almighty. But now, in the darkness, you sense the veil tremble like a candle flame caught in a storm. Your mind drifts there. You see it in your spirit, the fabric splitting from top to bottom, a wound through which light pours like liquid gold. The sound of tearing cloth echoes in your chest. A thunder that is not thunder, a declaration that the barrier has fallen, the distance between the divine and the dust now bridged by a sacrifice nailed to wood. You kneel lower, pressing your palm to the quaking earth. You feel the heartbeat of creation itself, the tremors of a world groaning under the weight of what has just been given, a son's final breath, a father's endless mercy, a spirit waiting in the wings for the dawn. Around you people stumble, grasping at one another. Dust swirls like spirits caught between worlds, and you breathe it in, the scent of rock and iron and rain yet to come. Your eyes burn, but you do not look away from the cross. Not now, not when all of heaven holds its breath. A voice breaks the hush, a centurion armor rattling with each tremor. He lifts his gaze to the broken man above him, and the words fall from his lips like a confession. Truly, this was the Son of God. You repeat the words in your mind, each syllable a stone set into a new foundation. Son of God, Son of God. And then, as quickly as it began, the earth calms, the thunder softens. To a distant echo, the sky a bruised purple veiled with clouds. You stand slowly, your legs trembling under you. The crowd has begun to scatter, feet shuffling over loose stones, cloaks brushing through the grass wet with dew. You follow a small group who carry his body in silence. Their eyes are hollow, their hands gentle as they lower him from the cross. Unravel the linen, wipe the blood that has dried under a sky now mourning. You walk behind them through the winding garden path. The olive trees lean in close, branches arching overhead like watchful angels. You hear the soft rustle of leaves, the labored breath of grief, and your own heartbeat keeping time with the steps of those who loved him. A tomb waits ahead, cut from the rock, silent, cool, unyielding. You watch as they lay him there, wrapping him in cloth woven with myrrh and aloes, hands trembling as they touch the bruises, the marks that tell the story of a world set free. The stone is rolled into place with a deep, echoing groan, a sound that seems to come from the very bones of the earth. You stand before it, fingertips grazing the rough surface, and you feel the silence settle around you, thick, holy, a promise hidden behind rock. In that silence, you close your eyes and breathe. Inhale the darkness of Friday. Exhale the dawn that waits beyond the stone. You do not know yet how the light will break through, but you believe. Even here, where death sleeps, that morning always comes. You wake before dawn, though your eyes never truly closed. Sleep does not come easily to a heart heavy with loss. You lie there, wrapped in your cloak, listening to the hush of a world that seems to hold its breath. Outside, the first birds have yet to sing. The garden is a shadowed sea of olive leaves, each branch weeping dew that drips softly to the soil below. Somewhere behind the trees, a tomb lies hidden, sealed, guarded, untouched by the rising sun. You rise and step barefoot onto the cool earth, feeling the pulse of the ground through your soles. Each step is careful, each breath deep and slow, as if you might disturb the fragile silence and wake the grief that curls itself around your chest. You find a rock and sit upon it, knees pulled close, arms wrapped tight to hold the pieces of you together. You remember his words, promises whispered on a hillside, parables woven like baskets to carry truth. Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. You hear them now, echoing in your bones, but the stone still feels too heavy, the night too long in the distance. You see others moving like shadows between the trees, figures draped in linen, faces hidden beneath veils, damp with tears. They do not speak, for what is there to say when the teacher lies silent behind a stone? Some press their palms together, lips moving in prayers half-formed and fragile. Some trace patterns in the dirt, circles that spin into nothing, as if trying to grasp the mystery too large to hold. You close your eyes and listen. The world has grown so still that you can hear your own heartbeat, a slow drum in the darkness of your chest. You wonder if he hears it too, if, behind that cold rock, he breathes the same hush that wraps around you now. A breeze moves through the garden, carrying the scent of myrrh and spices left behind when they wrapped him in linen. You remember the hands that folded the cloth, the quiet sobs that fell like rain on his wounds, the tenderness that clothed him for his rest. You press your palm to the earth beside you, feeling its firmness, its stillness, its promise that what sleeps now will not sleep forever. The prophets spoke of this, a suffering servant, a lamb led to slaughter, a root that would sprout from dry ground. You whisper their words into the dawn, your voice barely a thread. He was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The olive branches above you sway and sigh, a soft rustle like angels moving their wings. You wonder if they watch from unseen places, those messengers of light and fire, leaning close to glimpse the moment when silence gives way to song. Time drifts, unhurried. Morning settles over Jerusalem, but you remain in the garden, keeping watch. You think of the stone, round and cold, a seal between sorrow and hope. Yet deep within, you sense something stirring, a warmth that hums beneath the weight of death. You breathe it in, the hidden promise. This Sabbath is not forever. This silence is not the end. Behind the stone, a heartbeat quickens, waiting for the command that will split the night like thunder. You rest your head against your knees, eyes heavy, spirit open. You wait as the earth waits, as the sky waits, as all of heaven holds its breath for Sunday's light. Morning comes slowly, as if the sun itself is reluctant to rise upon a world that still remembers the shadow of the cross. You stand at the edge of the garden, feet pressing into damp earth, eyes fixed on the place where sorrow sleeps behind. Stone, the sky blushes with hints of lavender and gold, soft colors bleeding through the gray that clings to the hills. A breeze slips through the olive branches, carrying with it the whisper of something not quite spoken, a promise to bright, to stay hidden much longer. You hear footsteps approaching, soft and hurried, crunching over fallen leaves. You turn and see them, women wrapped in shawls, baskets of spices clutched to their chests, faces pale but determined. They move like shadows made of light, each step an act of defiance against despair. You join them in spirit, walking the path you have walked so many times in dreams, the path that leads to the tomb carved into the hillside, sealed tight, guarded by the Empire's mark of finality. Yet something in the air makes your breath catch, a feeling that the seal that binds death is not so strong as it once seemed. The women whisper to one another, voices trembling like the first notes of a hymn, who will roll the stone away. You hear the worry threaded through the hope, like doubt stitched into the hem of a faithful robe. Yet still they walk, step by step, as dawn gathers itself behind them, a chorus of birds waking the garden from its morning. You imagine the scent of the spices they carry, myrrh, aloe, perfumes meant for the dead. You feel the weight of that fragrance in your lungs, sweet and sorrowful, a reminder that they came to anoint what they thought was gone forever. But as the tomb comes into view, something is not as it should be. The stone, that heavy, immovable stone, has been shifted aside, like a door left ajar for the wind to find. You stand frozen, the breath caught in your throat like a prayer waiting to be spoken aloud. The women run forward, baskets forgotten. In the grass, they press trembling hands to the cold stone, fingers tracing the edges where rough rock once sealed away hope. They peer inside, shadows bending over shadows, hearts pounding like drums at the edge of a new beginning. You step closer, feeling the chill of the tomb's mouth wrap around your skin like a question, empty, yet full of something you cannot name. Inside, linen strips lie folded where the body once lay, neat and undisturbed, as if the one who wore them simply rose and slipped into dawn's embrace. A voice breaks the hush, not from the women, but from within the tomb's cool heart. You sense it first, a warmth, a radiance, like a lantern lit deep in the soil of your soul. And then you see a figure clothed in light, face like morning, eyes like calm seas that know every storm. Why do you look for the living among the dead? The question drifts through the garden, settles in your chest, burns away the last threads of night that cling to your spirit. He is not here, he has risen. The words echo through the stone walls, carrying centuries of longing, answering the silence of the Sabbath with a single breath of resurrection. You feel your knees give way, pressing into the soil that now hums with life, roots awakened by the footsteps of angels. The women fall back, eyes wide, hands covering lips that tremble with disbelief and wonder. You taste salt on your tongue, tears perhaps, or the sea of grace that spills from a tomb no longer claimed by death. And in that moment, you understand the stone was never strong enough to hold what lives. The silence was never deep enough to drown a promise spoken before time began. You close your eyes and breathe it in, the garden, the dawn, the impossible truth that death sleeps no more. You stand at the edge of the garden, the light of morning spilling over your shoulders like a warm cloak. Your hands tremble as you press your fingertips into the bark of an olive tree, steadying yourself against a truth too vast to hold in your chest all at once. Behind you, the tomb gapes open, a mouth that once swallowed hope, now exhaling a promise. You can still hear the angel's words echoing in your bones. He is not here, he has risen. The women stand near you, their eyes wide, shimmering with tears that taste of both fear and joy. One clutches her shawl tighter around her shoulders, her breath ragged like a song half sung. Another presses a trembling hand to her lips, as if to catch the praise that wants to burst free. Then, without another word, they turn feet, pressing into the dew-soaked grass, skirts rustling like the wings of birds, startled into flight. You run with them in spirit, your steps matching theirs as they flee the garden. A garden that is no longer a grave, but a cradle for a miracle. Your lungs burn with each breath. The path ahead, a blur of olive branches and dawn-dappled stone walls. The city of Jerusalem stirs awake in the distance, its rooftops, catching the first rays of sun like bowls set out to gather golden oil. You remember the faces that hid in darkened rooms, the disciples, broken by grief, their voices hushed behind locked doors, afraid that the same cross that claimed their master would come for them next. You see them now in your mind's eye, faces pale in the half-light, hands folded, hope as thin as the shadows that cling to their corners. You run, faster, your feet brushing past thorns and roots, the hem of your garment gathering the scent of wildflowers awakened by the morning sun. Every heartbeat is a drum, pounding out a message too big to whisper, too holy to keep hidden. The women's voices tumble out in gasps and laughter, their words colliding with their breath. He is risen. They repeat it like a chant, each. Repetition breaking a link in the chain of sorrow that bound them only hours before. You pass through narrow streets now, where vendors begin to set out baskets of bread, unaware that the true bread of life has broken the final barrier. Children chase one another in dusty alleys, their laughter ringing like bells that will soon toll with a new story, a story of a tomb left empty, of death undone. Your feet carry you to a door you know well, a door marked by fear and questions, by the weight of promises too heavy to believe in the dark. You pause just before it, your chest heaving, your palms pressed flat against the rough wood. Inside, they wait the fisherman, the tax collector, the zealot, the doubters and the faithful alike. Their voices hush as they hear the rush of feet. Outside, hope and dread mingling in their veins. You knock once, twice, and the door swings open, creaking like a secret that's kept too long. Faces crowd the doorway, eyes wide, lips parted to speak. Yet the words stick to their tongues. The women stand breathless, shawls slipping from their heads, hair tangled by the wind, eyes alive with something fierce and new. They try to speak, their voices trembling under the weight of glory. One reaches for your hand, her fingers cold but her grip strong, and together you whisper it into the shadows. The tomb is empty. He is alive. For a moment, silence lingers, the kind of silence that carries the echo of chains breaking, of stones rolling, of a kingdom coming like sunrise over a sleeping sea. And in that hush, you feel it, the first flutter of faith, reborn like the beating of wings against a sky that can hold no darkness for long. You stand just inside the doorway, your back pressed against the cool stone wall, watching how shadows dance across frightened faces. The room is small, its corners dim and cluttered with the silence of people who loved him enough to stay hidden. When the world turned against them, you feel their fear like a heartbeat. Steady but fragile, a drum that might shatter under the weight of a single truth too beautiful to believe. Their voices break the hush in anxious whispers. Could it be? Did you really see him? One leans forward, eyes sharp with disbelief, fingers drumming against the table as if hoping the wood might speak. The answers he cannot find. You close your eyes and breathe. You remember the tomb, the stone rolled back, the linen folded, as gentle as a mother tucking her child into dawn. You remember the angel's voice, a sound that made the earth tremble inside you. Why do you seek the living among the dead? You want to speak it again, to shout it through the walls and into the streets of Jerusalem. but your voice is just one among many, a whisper caught in the web of their questions and doubts. Someone paces the floor, sandals brushing dust into tiny spirals that vanish as quickly as they form. Another sits with his head in his hands, fingers knotted in his hair, shoulders trembling under the weight of what he dares to hope. And then, like a door opening in your chest, you feel it. A warmth, first at your fingertips, then flooding your palms, rising up your arms until your lungs swell with something more alive than air. The room grows still. A hush falls so deep you can hear your own heartbeat, your own breath in and out, like a prayer you did not know you were praying. And in the center of that silence, he stands. No knock on the door, no footsteps echoing through the corridor, just presence. Solid, holy, calm as a candle that refuses to be snuffed out by the wind. You lift your eyes, and there he is, the teacher, the master, the friend who spoke of lilies in the field and sparrows that never fall unseen. His robe shimmers with the dawn that broke the tomb. His hands are outstretched, palms open, and you see them, the wounds, raw yet radiant, the scars that cradle every doubt ever spoken in the dark. His eyes find yours, not with rebuke, but with a tenderness that washes over you like water on cracked soil. You feel your knees weaken, your mouth forming words that don't come. You can only breathe him in, the fragrance of a promise kept, a kingdom seed buried and now breaking through the earth. Peace be with you, he says. And the words do what no locked door ever could. They break through fear like sunlight, through stained glass, painting every trembling soul in shades of hope. One by one, they approach, hands outstretched, fingers grazing the edges of those holy scars. Doubt collides with touch. Skepticism yields to the warmth of flesh reborn. You stand behind them, watching tears pool at the corners of hardened eyes, watching faith rise like a tide that will not be turned back. Thomas, the one who doubted most, steps forward. His voice cracks with the weight of what he cannot believe until belief stands right before him, wounds and all. His fingers hover above the mark in that sacred side, and you feel the tremor in your own hands, as if his disbelief is yours, and so is his surrender. My Lord and my God. The words break like waves against the shore of an unguarded heart. And, you know, in this small room, with its walls still echoing fear, with the scent of old wood and oil lamps clinging to the air, that something eternal has slipped through the cracks. A breath of heaven now lingers here, filling lungs that once tasted only grief. You close your eyes, press your palms together, and feel the hush of resurrection settle around you like a warm cloak. He is here, he is alive, and the darkness will never again hold you captive. You stand at the edge of the water, toes sinking into cool sand still wet from the night tide. The dawn here is softer than you remember, a veil of mist that hovers just above the surface, hiding the horizon like a secret waiting to be spoken. The sea breathes in and out at your feet, each wave a whisper of promises you thought had died on a hill of skulls. You look up and see him, the teacher, your friend, your Lord, walking along the shoreline with the easy grace of one who commands the wind and the depths. His robe brushes the surf, catching flecks of salt water, yet he seems untouched by the chill. He pauses a few steps ahead, turns, and meets your eyes with a smile that carries every sunrise the world will ever know. You follow him. The sand shifts beneath your soles, a gentle reminder that the ground you stand on is holy because he stands. On it too, around you, the others gather, brothers who once dropped nets heavy with fish to follow a promise they could not name. You see their faces in the pale morning light, weathered by salt and sun, eyes hollowed by fear, but now shining with something deeper than simple hope. A fire crackles on the shore, a circle of warmth. In the hush of dawn, fish sizzle over. The coals, the scent of charred scales and fresh bread floating through the mist like an offering. You sit by the fire, you hold out your palms to the heat, feeling how the flames kiss your skin, chasing away the chill that clings to your bones. He breaks bread in his hands, those hands marked forever by nails, but stronger than any stone that ever sealed a grave. He gives it to you, a simple piece of bread, warm and torn, and when your fingers close around it, you feel the truth. That life always returns to those who hunger for more than what the world can give. No one speaks, yet everything is said. The crackle of fire, the gentle lap of waves, the seabirds calling above the water, all of it a hymn, a psalm rising from the shore where fear once anchored you to the deep. After you have eaten, he stands and walks a little further down the beach. You rise and follow, grains of sand clinging to your feet like small reminders that you still belong to this earth. Even as your heart drifts toward heaven, he stops beside a cluster of rocks, waves breaking round his ankles, salt spraying against his robe. He turns to you, eyes searching deeper than any question you've ever dared to ask. Double quotes, "Do you love me?" The words are soft, yet they strike something hidden in your chest, a place still bruised by your denials, by the darkness you once chose. When the rooster sang, you nod, mouth dry, voice trembling as you whisper, "Yes, Lord." "You know I do." He smiles, as if to say he knew this all along. Again, "Do you love me?" And again you answer each word, peeling away the shame, like linen strips left behind in an empty tomb. A third time, the question, and this time, your eyes blur with tears because you understand, each confession a bomb for every time you ran from the truth. Each word a stone rolled away from the grave inside you. Feed my sheep. A charge, a calling, spoken by the one whose voice calms seas and storms alike. You breathe in the salt air, the scent of fish and fire lingering on your cloak. You feel the warmth of the morning sun rise higher above the Galilean hills. And you know, as surely as you know, the taste of bread on your tongue, that love has found you here. On this simple shore, the waves curl around your ankles, cold and alive. Somewhere out there, beyond the horizon you cannot yet see, nations wait for the echo of this dawn. He stands beside you, the risen one, the friend who calls you by name, and the sea knows his voice, just as you do now. You stand once more at the edge of the shore, the warmth of the fire still clinging to your skin like a promise you cannot wash away. Behind you, the sea murmurs its ancient hymn, waves folding and unfolding, the same breath that once carried his voice to fishermen's ears. You turn toward the path that leads away from Galilee, feet brushing through wild grass bent low by the wind. Your sandals kick up the scent of earth, fresh and damp with morning dew, and somewhere deep inside your chest, a new heartbeat keeps time with every step you take. You walk with the others' brothers, friends, once scattered by fear, now gathered, again by a love too strong for locked doors or buried hope. No one speaks at first. The road winds between fields waking to the sun, olive trees casting long shadows that dance at your feet. Birdsong fills the silence with gentle praise, each note a reminder that creation itself rejoices when the stone is rolled away. You reach for the memory of his eyes, steady, patient, searching the places inside you that still carry the scent of denial. You remember how the question came like a wave, "Do you love me?" and how your answer fell, fragile and true, like a leaf released to the river. With each step, your spirit feels lighter, not because the path is free of stones, but because you no longer walk it alone. Even when he is not at your side, his words rest on your shoulders like a mantle woven of dawn. Feed my sheep. You carry it now, a charge, a gift, a flame that cannot be hidden. The road bends around a grove of fig trees, their leaves trembling in the gentle breeze. You pause to rest your palm against the rough bark, feeling the life pulsing beneath your touch, roots drinking deep, branches reaching high, like faith stretching from the dark soil toward the endless sky. You breathe in the scent of blossoms, sweet and sharp, and in that moment, you know, where once you sought miracles in the thunder, now you find them in the quiet beating of your own heart, where his spirit lives and whispers, a voice that says, "You are not what you were, you are becoming." A distant village appears on the horizon, its rooftops red with the first kiss of sun. Smoke curls from hearths where families rise from sleep. Children's laughter spills through open doors, and you wonder if they know, if they feel it. This newness in the wind. You step over a small stream, the water clear and cold around your ankles. It rushes past your feet, carrying with it pebbles and leaves, and the memory of a garden tomb where silence was shattered by the breath of life as you cross. You bend to cup the water in your hands, letting it run through your fingers like a blessing. You drink, cool, clean, and feel it settle in your belly. A reminder that even the thirst you didn't know you carried has been seen and met and filled. Ahead, the road splits into many paths, some leading to cities, crowded with voices, some to fields sown with seeds yet to break through the soil. You feel no fear. You know that wherever you go, the fire he lit on that quiet shore will burn bright in the hidden chambers of your soul. You turn to look behind you one last time, the sea glittering beneath the rising sun, the place where your shame was undone. Your calling spoken over crashing waves. You whisper a promise into the wind. Wherever you lead, I will follow. Whatever you ask, I will do. For you are alive in me, and the darkness can never silence this light. And so you walk, feet pressing into the dust, heart aflame with a love that death could not hold. With every step, you become the story he left behind, a living echo of the empty tomb and the dawn that will never end. You step off the dusty road and into the narrow alleyways where stone walls hold the warmth of the afternoon sun. Your feet brush against clay pots, baskets of figs, the scent of fresh bread drifting through open windows. Every doorway feels like a threshold between old fear and new hope. You pause outside a small house, its wooden door slightly ajar, the sound of voices spilling into the street like a prayer half sung. You push it open with trembling fingers, and the light inside wraps around you like an embrace. The room is simple, rough-hewn benches, a table marked by years of stories shared over olives and oil, a single oil lamp flickering in the corner, its flame dancing in the hush. They are gathered there, the fishermen, the mothers, the children with eyes wide as dawn. Some sit close together, shoulders brushing, hands resting on knees worn by labor and longing. Their faces turn to you as you enter, and for a heartbeat, you wonder if they see the flame you carry inside, this ember from the shore that will never die. You find a place at the table. Someone presses a cup into your hands, clay warm. From touch, wine deep and red as a heart laid open. Bread is passed from palm to palm, each piece torn with a quiet reverence that says, "We remember." You lift it to your lips, tasting more than grain, tasting the garden's hush, the stones surrender, the shoreline where forgiveness called your name like waves returning to the shore. A child crawls into your lap, his tiny fingers tracing the edge of your cloak, his eyes searching yours for something he cannot yet name. You brush your palm over his hair and feel how life hums in small bodies the same way it thrums in broken ones. Beside you, an old woman bows her head, lips moving in silent thanks. You watch the lines on her face soften like soil cracked by drought drinking the first drops of rain. Someone speaks a name, a man on a mat near the door, his legs twisted by years of waiting. You see the hope flicker behind the curtain of his eyes, fragile, yet stubborn, like a seed that refuses to stay buried. You reach for his hand, your fingers close around his, skin rough with dust and time. You do not speak grand words, you simply breathe, and in that breath, you feel the wind that once tore through the upper room. Fire settling on heads like crowns no empire could steal. A shudder runs through his limbs. His eyes widen, mouth opening around a cry that breaks into laughter. His feet that never carried him, press into the dirt floor as he stands, awkward at first, then strong as roots, finding their way deep into earth. Gasps echo off the walls. Hands cover lips, tears pool in corners of wide eyes, and the room hums with the certainty that the spirit still moves where he pleases, soft as a whisper, fierce as a flame. You close your eyes and feel it too, the breath of God sweeping through this small house, touching each heart, stirring embers in every soul that thought it was too late to burn again. Outside, the street carries the sound of children laughing, vendors calling out the price of figs and fish. But here, inside these walls, you sense a kingdom that no marketplace can contain. A kingdom that lives wherever bread is broken, where the cup is lifted, where wounded hands become vessels for glory. You rise to your feet as the man who once lay on the mat clutches your shoulders, weeping with gratitude that pours from him like oil down the side of an alabaster jar. You lean close, forehead to forehead, and whisper the truth you now carry everywhere. He is alive, and so are you. And in that room, under the glow of a single flickering flame, you feel the spirit breathe again. Wind over waters, fire in your bones, life without end. You step out of the small house, the warmth of oil lamps and whispered prayers still clinging to your skin. Outside, the streets breathe with new life, vendors calling to one another, children weaving between stalls, the smell of fresh bread, and olives carried on the breeze. But beneath all the ordinary sounds, you hear something else, a hum, like the beating of wings against your ribs, a whisper that says, it does not stay inside four walls. You walk slowly, your feet brushing dust into the folds of your cloak. You see others gathering at doorways, faces peeking out, voices rising in quiet wonder, hands pressed to mouths that can't contain the rumors that hope has slipped through. Locked doors and now wanders free. A woman calls your name. You turn and she presses a small bundle into your hands. Bread still warm, figs wrapped in a linen cloth. She says nothing more than take it to them, and you understand. This bread is not just for you, but for the hungry hearts waiting in dark corners. You walk on each step, guided by a breath that is not entirely your own. The Spirit moves with you, sometimes in the rustle of olive leaves overhead, sometimes in the laughter of a child splashing water from a clay jug. Sometimes in the hush that settles when you speak his name, you pause at a doorway where an old man sits, his eyes clouded, milky with years that stole his sight, but never his hunger for the stories he once heard at the temple gates. You kneel beside him, press the warm bread into his hands. He trembles, breaks off a piece, and you hear the soft crackle as if heaven itself has torn open to pour mercy through this simple meal. "Tell me again," he whispers, voice rough as stones in a dry riverbed. So you do. You speak of the cross, the tomb, the stone that could not hold back sunrise. You describe the empty grave, the garden, the breath of angels who sang what the earth had waited since Eden to hear. He is not here. He is risen. The old man nods, tears shining like oil lamps in his sightless eyes. He repeats it under his breath, feeding it to the darkness like a spark that will never go out. You stand and move on, down winding alleys where shadows cling to crumbling walls. At every corner, someone waits, a mother with a sick child wrapped tight against her breast. A fisherman counting his nets, but looking for something that no boat will ever bring to shore. You pause with each one, your hands gentle on weary shoulders, your voice soft as the wind that once carried his words across the Galilean hills. And though you do not always have bread or figs to give, you share the story piece by piece, a meal that multiplies the more you offer it. He is alive. The words slip from your tongue like a song that never loses its sweetness. Every time you speak them, the world grows lighter, as if the sun itself lingers longer in the sky, refusing to sink beneath a horizon that once belonged to shadows. At dusk, you gather with others in a courtyard, faces you've seen before, and faces you've never known, farmers, widows, children with knees scabbed from running too hard. They come carrying baskets of olives, jugs of wine, whatever they have to share. Someone lights a small flame in the center. You sit in the circle, knees brushing knees, and listen as stories spill out like rivers finding the sea. A man lifts his eyes to the stars, now blinking awake above the rooftops. His voice trembles as he says, "He told us to go into all the world." The words hang in the night air, too heavy for one soul to carry alone, yet light enough when shared, like bread torn and passed from hand to hand. You breathe it in, the scent of wine, firewood, and hope that smells of new rain. You know that tomorrow you will rise again, feet dusted with roads yet to be walked, lips ready to speak of gardens and stones rolled away. And as the flame flickers in the courtyard, casting shadows that dance on the walls, you feel the spirit move among you, a hush, a sigh, a promise. It does not stay here. It goes where you go. It breathes where you breathe. It burns where you burn. You rise before the first bird breaks the silence of the night. The courtyard is empty now. Ashes in the small fire pit still warm under your fingertips as you press your hand into the coals. A spark jumps, flickers, then dies. But the flame you carry inside you does not go out. You step into the dawn, alone, yet never alone. Streets still sleep under the hush of shadows. But you feel the city waking, the distant bray of donkeys, the creak of wooden carts, the soft murmur of women drawing water from deep wells. You pause beside a fountain, watch the ripples break. The reflection of your face. You remember the garden, the tomb, the breath of an angel that turns stone to sunrise. And you hear it again, a voice that finds you in every silence. I am with you, always. You let those words sink into the marrow of your bones, stronger than fear, deeper than doubt. They beat steady in your chest. A drum that keeps you walking when your feet ache and your heart longs for the safety of closed doors. You cross the market square, past merchants who stack figs in woven baskets, who argue over prices, their voices sharp yet familiar. No one notices the quiet light that flickers behind your eyes, but you feel it, a kingdom hidden in plain sight, waiting to break through the cracks of ordinary days. A boy runs past you, bare feet slapping the stones, laughter trailing behind, like a banner. You catch the hem of his tunic, steady him, and in his startled eyes you glimpse a future where the stories you tell will find him too. A grown man, a father, a friend, passing the same flame from heart to heart. You climb a hill that overlooks the city, the temple rising in the distance, its stones bathed in the gold of early light. You remember him standing here, arms outstretched, not just for you, but for every soul who will one day lift their eyes and whisper, "I believe." The breeze carries the scent of olive branches, dust, and the promise of new harvests. You close your eyes and feel it, the spirit that hovered over waters at the dawn of everything, now stirring the water of your soul with a whisper that says, "Go." You see yourself walking roads that split through mountains, paths that wind past, vineyards heavy with fruit. You see doors opening homes where lamps flicker through the night, where bread is broken and prayers are sown like seeds in rich soil. You see faces, strangers who will become family, enemies who will break beside you, weeping when they taste the freedom that once found you at the foot of an empty tomb. You taste dust on your tongue, a reminder that this path will never be free of stones or thorns. But you feel no fear, because you know now that the one who conquered death does not wait for you at the end of the road. He walks beside you on every mile. "I am with you always." The words lift you like a bird rising on a warm current. Of wind, you whisper them to the fig trees, to the fields waiting for rain, to the rooftops that catch the first kiss of dawn. Your feet press onward. Your breath settles into a quiet rhythm. Inhale, promise. Exhale, peace. Somewhere ahead, new voices will join the song. Farmers with dirt under their nails, widows with tears turned to laughter, children who will grow up carrying the same spark that now burns in the secret chamber of your chest. You run your fingertips along a stone wall as you pass, rough and cool under your touch. Each step is a prayer, each heartbeat a psalm, each breath an echo of the garden where death learned it could not hold what lives. The sun lifts higher, painting the sky in strokes of rose and gold, and you walk on light on your shoulders, fire in your bones, the promise trailing behind you like a river that can never run dry. I am with you always. You carry it, you live it, you become it. You stand at the edge of a road that has no end, a path worn smooth by the footsteps of those who carried this flame before you, those whose names were never carved in stone, yet whose whispers still linger in the wind. You close your eyes and listen. Somewhere beyond the hills and the olive groves, you hear them, voices woven through centuries, a chorus that began in an empty garden at dawn and has never gone silent since. You see a mother in a quiet room, her lamp burning low as she cradles her child, whispering stories of the one who calmed storms and spoke life into tombs. Her voice is soft but sure, threading faith into tiny ears that one day will stand where you stand now. Feet dusty, heart open, carrying the same ember. You see fishermen at dawn, nets dripping with silver scales, salt spray clinging to their hair. They share bread by the water's edge, hands rough, hearts tender, their laughter echoing off the rocks, living proof that the cross did not end the story. It set it free. You see men and women gathered in hidden places, candles flickering against stone walls damp with fear. Outside, kingdoms rise and crumble, emperors boast and fall, but inside, a single name is spoken, a name stronger than iron, softer than mercy, Jesus. And each time they speak it, the darkness trembles. Time shifts like sand beneath your feet. You stand in a field where voices rise in song, hymns carried by winds that swirl through tall grass. Children chase one another through the rows, laughter rising like incense to the sky. Old hands clap in rhythm, wrinkles hiding decades of sorrow and praise. You feel their faith seep into you, an inheritance not made of gold or stone, but of breath and blood, and the promise that death was never the end. Your hands flex, as if they too remember how bread breaks and multiplies when the Spirit moves where it wills. You see a small chapel on a distant shore, waves crashing against cliffs that stand guard over prayers whispered by souls long gone. A single candle flickers on a windowsill, its glow a beacon for sailors lost at sea, for wanderers seeking shelter from storms. Inside, a woman kneels, her head bowed low, her lips shaping the same words you carry in your bones. I am with you, always. And in her quiet faith, you see the reflection of your own, fragile at times, yet unbroken, sustained by the same Spirit that breathed over chaos and birthed creation from the void. You open your eyes and stand at the edge of now. The road behind you is a tapestry of moments, threads of sacrifice and wonder, of tears and laughter, all bound together by hands once pierced and now outstretched ahead of you. The path winds on, into streets lit by city lights, into crowded rooms where screens glow in the dark, into the hush of bedrooms where weary souls press play and listen for hope. When sleep comes slow and fears press close, and there you are, your voice a soft echo in their night. Your story a bridge between the ancient hush of the garden and the heartbeat of a world that still waits for dawn. You breathe deep, feeling how the Spirit stirs inside your chest like wind through olive branches. You know you are not alone. You have never been alone. This flame is older than every empire, stronger than every fear, gentler than every lullaby whispered into the dark. You lift your head and whisper back to the centuries, to the ones who came before, to the ones yet to come. We are not abandoned. We are not forgotten. He is here. He is alive. And somewhere in the hush that follows, you feel hands unseen rest on your shoulders, steady, warm, eternal. You close your eyes and let the promise settle. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. You stand at the edge of the path one last time, the night pressing soft against your shoulders, a blanket woven of wind, stars, and prayers half whispered into the hush before sleep. The road behind you glows faint in the memory of footsteps, each one a promise that what began at the foot of a cross did not end in the hush of a tomb. It lives in the hush now, settled deep in your chest where the Spirit breathes like a lullaby carried on the wings of an unseen dove. You kneel in a small clearing, the earth cool beneath your knees, your palms pressed into the soil that once drank the blood of sacrifice and now blooms with the roots of hope above you. Olive branches sway gently, their leaves brushing one another like ancient voices, repeating stories you now hold close, stories of a stone rolled away, of a garden flooded with dawn, of a name spoken in trembling faith that scattered the night. You let your eyes drift shut, and in that darkness behind your lids you see it all again. The cross standing against a sky bruised with storm, the the silence of the Sabbath where grief lay like snow on the hills, the trembling joy of the empty tomb, and the warmth of a shoreline. Fire where bread broke and hearts mended. You breathe it in, the scent of myrrh and salt and wild fig blossoms. Each inhale carries the hush of a promise that cannot be unspoken. I am with you always. Somewhere in the distance, a night bird calls a soft note that drifts across the garden like a single word of praise. You listen for the echo in your own chest, and you hear it, a heartbeat steady, a flame that rests yet never dies. You think of those who sleep now, faces turned to the quiet walls of hidden rooms, souls curled like seeds in winter soil, waiting for a new spring to break through stone. You think of the mother who hums hymns into the darkness, the child who stirs in dreams where angels walk through olive groves, the weary heart that longs for a love strong enough to cradle every fear. You press your palm to the earth, feeling how the ground hums with life, the same life that left the tomb behind, the same breath that weaves itself through your veins, even now as sleep drifts closer. You do not fear the shadows, for you have seen what they cannot hold. You do not dread the silence, for you know that within it the Spirit speaks in the hush, and the hush itself is holy. You lean back, spine resting against the sturdy trunk of an old olive tree whose roots stretch deep, roots that remember storms and droughts, yet always find the water hidden beneath stone. You rest your head, eyes half open to the stars blinking awake one by one, each light a reminder. Nothing truly lost, everything gathered in the hands of the one who walks the roads you walk, who calls you by name in gardens and courtyards alike, who stands beside you even when you think you stand alone. The last breeze of the night sighs through the branches above you, a hush that settles on your shoulders like a cloak. You let it wrap around your weary bones, anointing you with the stillness of a promise kept. You do not need to run anymore. You do not need to speak. The flame rests in you now, steady as the dawn that waits just beyond the horizon. And as your eyes grow heavy, you breathe one last prayer into the night. May I rise with you when morning comes. May this light never fade. May my heart remember. And in the hush, you hear it again, the voice that first spoke stars into the dark. I am with you always, even to the end of the age. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you in the deepest hours of your night. And may his voice find you in the hush between your thoughts, reminding you that you are never alone. May every shadow that brushes your dreams be chased away by the light of the empty tomb, the light that dawned on a garden at sunrise, the light that rolls stones aside and calls your name softly, surely. Forever may your heart rest in the promise that the one who carried the cross now carries you, that the silence you fear is never empty, for the Spirit breathes even there, like wind through olive branches, like a lullaby whispered by angels who stand watch through the night. May you sleep in the shelter of his wings, beneath the canopy of his unending love. And when morning comes, may you rise renewed, the flame of hope steady within you, ready to walk every road with the one who is always, always with you. Peace be with you, beloved, now and forevermore.